Thank you, Nuri. Thanks everyone for joining, especially to Robin from the FTC, who is the real expert on this call. And I want to not take up too much time so that you guys can spend time with her and ask her questions. I'm doing this from, we're in the Bridgewater Commons Mall today. We have a constituent service table here. So I'm sitting here talking to constituents as they come up to us looking for help with various problems. And that's the purpose of this workshop as well. We all know there's a big problem in our country with scams, which disproportionately affect seniors in our community. I have had people in my own family fall victim, so I know how bad this is. The FTC is our one of our agencies in the U.S. government that is our partner in fighting against these criminals who prey upon us. And we've tried to do what we can through legislation in Congress as well. In my first term, I co-sponsored a bill called the Stopping Bad Robocalls Act, which has had some impact. I now get notifications on my phone that a call is potential spam, and so I know to ignore it, and that's a product of some of the work that we have done. But that said, we know that there are still very significant issues out there. There are steps that all of us can take to be safer, steps that we can encourage our friends and families to take to be safer. We run these workshops periodically to try to get out to our constituents the lessons we have learned and that Robin and others at the FTC have learned over the years to help make sure that we are protecting ourselves. So with that, I'm really happy to turn the floor over to her. I encourage you all to take notes and prepare your questions, and hopefully this will be a really productive and useful session. Thanks again.
Thank you so much, Congressman Malinowski, for inviting me to speak with everyone today. I'm happy to be here. I need to tell you that my remarks today are not those of the entire Federal Trade Commission or any particular commissioner. But I also wanted to share with you that at the FTC, we know that although seniors are not always the victims or more often the victims of scams, when seniors lose money to scams, they tend to lose more money to the scams. So, okay. So I've been a consumer protection attorney with the FTC for quite some time. At the FTC, we protect consumers from fraud. And how do we do that? In three main ways. One, we sue companies and individuals that defraud people, and we ask the courts to immediately stop the illegal activity. A second way is we provide information to consumers on how to avoid fraud and identity theft and how to recover if it happens. And the third way is that we take fraud reports on our Consumer Sentinel database and share them with about thousands of other law enforcement agencies. We also use your reports of fraud to bring new lawsuits and to develop new educational materials. So every year, the Federal Trade Commission releases its Consumer Sentinel Network data book for the previous year. This year it was in March. And in this data book, we found that consumers reported losing more than $3.3 billion to fraud in 2020, which is up from $1.8 billion in 2019. And the top two fraud categories for 2020 that were reported were imposter scams first and online shopping second. Nearly $1.2 billion was reported lost due to imposter scams, while online shopping accounted for about $246 million in reported losses from consumers. Now, this is our New Jersey page from our Consumer Sentinel Network data book. And that's also for last year, 2020. It shows that the top report category for New Jersey was identity theft. And the second most reports to Consumer Sentinel were about imposter scams. And the top identity theft complaint to Consumer Sentinel was about credit card fraud. So what's our best advice for you consumers if you've lost money to scam? You should first talk to the payment provider and tell them that you've been a victim of a scam and ask for a refund. For example, if you paid by credit card, you can call your credit card company and ask to reverse the charges. You have some legal protections against unauthorized charges on credit cards, debit cards, and bank accounts, but you need to act quickly to contest the charges. Now, if you wired money, say through Western Union or MoneyGram, you should also call them as soon as possible. Now, if you put money on a gift card or prepaid card, such as iTunes, Google, Amazon, or Green Dot, you also should get in touch with the gift card company right away. With gift cards, there's no guarantee you'll get your money back, but you still should alert the payment system and also report the scam to the FTC and other law enforcement, whether or not you lost money. Our new reportfraud.ftc.gov link is interactive, easy to use, and will send you useful information on next steps and how to protect yourself from fraud. So as I told you before, imposter scams are big. There are all kinds of imposters: government imposters, grandchild imposters, corporate imposters, romantic interest imposters, and tech support imposters. And there are others. They're all trying to convince you to share your personal information or send them money. And I'm going to talk about many of those imposter scams today. Also, we want you to avoid COVID-19 scams. You should know that vaccines and even boosters are free of charge, that the government's not going to contact you on any program and ask you for payments in cash, wire transfers, gift cards, or cryptocurrency. And to shop safely online, you should check out any unfamiliar websites. And one way to do that is to type in the name with complaint, scam, or other review. So you can see what others have said and avoid scams when you're shopping online. And that's important these days. So fake Social Security Administration calls. Now, Social Security scams are really scary for seniors, and that's because seniors are dependent on their Social Security checks. These Social Security imposters, you routinely say that your Social Security number's been suspended due to suspicious activity or because it's been involved in a crime. Scammers ask you to confirm your Social Security number or say you need to withdraw money from the bank and store it on gift cards or other strange ways for safekeeping. And you may be told your accounts will be seized or frozen if you don't act quickly. But what's our advice? Well, you should know your Social Security number is not going to be suspended and your bank account's not going to be seized. This is always a scam. Real Social Security is never going to call and ask you to wire money, send cash, or put money on gift cards. And you can't believe the numbers on your caller ID because scammers can easily fake those. And on this slide, there's a link to how a Social Security scam sounds, and that the FTC's had a growing number of reports of these type of scams. So similar to the Social Security scam is the Medicare fraud scam. And just our advice is not to share your Medicare number with anyone who contacts you, and make sure you review your Medicare summary for any charges that are not related to your own treatment. But a big concern we're seeing now is providers offering a test, service, or supply that you don't need and that wasn't ordered by your doctor, because these scammers want to obtain your Medicare number. Some of the current scams are coronavirus tests, remedies and vaccines, genetic testing, and back braces. So if you suspect a Medicare scam, report it at www.medicare.gov/fraud or at 1-800-Medicare. So Medicare open enrollment season is here now, and you want to know what kind of plan is best for you. But the best help you can get is through your state health insurance assistance program, SHIP, SHIP. And there's a SHIP office in every single state. And that's how you can choose the best plans for your needs. That's for the year 2022. So utility imposter scams. Well, this is how it happens. You get a call out of the blue and the caller says you have to pay a past due bill or your service will be shut off. But if you get a call like that, never give banking information over the phone to the caller. And if you want to later pay your bill by phone, always place the call to the number you know that's legitimate, which is the number on your utility bill or the number on the utility's website. And know that utility companies don't demand payment information by email, text, or phone. And they won't force you to pay by phone as your only option. So the advice is never call a number left in a voicemail, text, or email. Instead, if you're worried, contact the utility company directly using the number on your bill or on the company's website. And that's how you verify that any message actually came from them. So tech support scam is another imposter scam, and one that's especially victimized older consumers. These scammers pretend to call from or be affiliated with technology companies like Microsoft, and they try to scare people about their computer security. And they often want to get access into your computer, but never let them. They also may try to sell services or software to, quote, fix security problems, but those are often problems that never even existed. So what to do? Hang up on callers that say you have a computer problem. Ignore pop-ups that look like this or similar that say to call tech support, and never give them remote access. But if you have questions, call the legitimate company at a number you know before doing anything else. So romantic scammers. You should know that the Federal Trade Commission found that online dating scams were the most costly scam reported to the FTC in 2020. In fact, romantic scammers bilked consumers out of $304 million just last year. And that's 4 times as much money as consumers lost to similar scams in 2016, and twice as much as they lost in 2019. And this scam has particularly hurt older consumers. So our best tip is to watch out for romantic interests that you never met. And a sure sign you're being scammed is if the online love interest or online friend asks for money. and know that they might first ask for a tiny amount of money, but they're grooming you for the big demand later on. So don't give anyone you haven't met in person money. So I'm sure you've all heard of the grandparent family emergency scam. Here's how it goes. Grandpa, I need money for bail. Don't tell mom. Scammers pretend to be someone you know, often a family member, calling or sending messages asking you for money right away. They say they need help in an emergency, like getting out of jail or paying a hospital. Their goal is to get you to send money before you even realize it's a scam and before you've talked to anybody or looked up any information. These scammers sometimes use information from social networking sites or hack into a loved one's email account. And that's how they make their scam seem more believable to victims. But don't fall for these scams. I've gotten these type of calls at home. We have a 2-year-old granddaughter, but somehow the scammers are always males. Grown-up males. So don't fall for this scam. A lot of people lose money. And you may have heard of the Amazon impersonators. It's another imposter scam. Now, many people have Amazon accounts and we all think they're safe. Well, scammers know that, so they pretend to be Amazon and they want to steal our personal information and our money. So our advice is don't call the phone number they give you. And above all, don't give them any personal information. Don't give them any account numbers and don't give them any passwords. So sweepstakes and grant scams. They always victimize seniors as well. Here's how they go. You get a call, email, or letter that says you want a prize or a special grant from the government. All you have to do is pay fees or taxes. And maybe they want you to wire money or get a prepaid or gift card. Well, you need to know that paying to collect a prize or a grant is a scam every time. And who even thinks that they're going to get a grant or win a prize that they never even applied for? And there are lots of sweepstakes impersonators. So don't ever send money to collect a prize. Now, gift cards, they're a great, popular, and convenient way to give somebody a gift. But they're a very, very popular way for scammers to steal your money. And that's because gift cards are just like cash. If you buy a gift card and someone uses it, you probably can't ever get your money back. Again, gift cards are for gifts only and not for payments. The FTC has a campaign to stop gift card payments to fraudsters. So what do? Tell the gift card company right away that your gift card was used in a scam and ask for your money back. But with gift cards, many times the money's gone and there are no chargeback rights like with credit cards. It's still, though, important to report the fraud to the gift card company and to the FTC so we know about these frauds. So here are some ways to avoid a scam. Some of the hallmarks of scams are urgency. You have to act immediately. They want you to respond before you've had a chance to speak to anyone or check it out. Another hallmark of fraud is they ask for money in untraceable ways, like gift cards, cash, wire transfers, or cryptocurrency. And be sure to protect the devices that you connect to the internet. So protect them from malware like viruses and spyware, and know how to protect your devices before you get rid of an old computer or smartphone. So now we come to robocalls. Don't you hate them? Now that so many of us are home, we might be picking up calls that we wouldn't have ordinarily answered. And we're all probably getting more robocalls. So know that scammers have been quick to get into the coronavirus business, offering fake cures, prevention solutions, test kits, special access to test kits, special access for Medicare recipients, health insurance, cleaning supplies, and the list goes on. But scammers are also tailoring their regular robocalls. So we're seeing some Social Security Administration scams relating to the coronavirus, as well as mortgage and debt relief scams. So here's what you can do about these robocalls. Hang up on illegal robocallers, then block the number and report the call to the Federal Trade Commission. By the way, go to ftc.gov/calls to know specifically about call blocking. So now let's talk about identity theft. You've all heard of identity theft, but the challenges that COVID-19 has brought include a higher risk of identity theft. So in 2020, the FTC got 1.4 million reports of identity theft, double the number from 2019. Repeatedly, identity thieves targeted government funds that were designed to help people that were hard hit financially by the pandemic, such as unemployment insurance benefits. At the FTC, we have lots of information about how to avoid identity theft and how to recover if it happens. So these are some of our best core tips to reduce the risk of identity theft. And know that you can get a free credit report from each of the 3 major credit reporting agencies every week through April 20th, 2022. You just have to go to annualcreditreport.com. And medical identity theft is particularly serious because the thief's medical records get mixed up with the victim's records. And often the ID theft victim can't get the treatment or medication that he or she needs. And with tax identity theft, a thief can steal your tax refund. So again, you have to monitor your medical records and make sure that you file your taxes early, because sometimes a thief will file taxes in someone's name before the victim can even file. So this is identitytheft.gov. In case identity theft ever happens, we've created an easier way to report the problem and to get help. Identitytheft.gov is where you report identity theft and get a recovery plan. In fact, in most situations, your report to identitytheft.gov takes the place of a police report, saving you time and work. And if you create an account, you'll get reminders, you can update your report, you can track your progress, and the FTC will pre-fill forms and letters for you. And this identitytheft.gov is also available in Spanish. Now, by following a few short steps on reportfraud.ftc.gov, your report is instantly available to more than 3,000 federal, state, and local law enforcers across the country. Report a scam, a fraud, a bad business practice, any of those that you spot. And even if you didn't lose money, it's important for us to know what's happening in every community. This information is used in investigations by law enforcement agencies nationwide. When you report, you give as much or as little information as you choose. You tell us what happened. And based on what you tell us, we'll get ideas about next steps to take to protect yourself against fraud and how to recover from fraud. Reports matter to the FTC and to all the law enforcers who have access to the FTC's Consumer Sentinel system. And also, your reports matter to all the people in your community you help every time you report a scam. So please, whenever you spot a suspicious claim or anything you think might be a scam, tell the FTC at reportfraud.ftc.gov. We take reports in English and Spanish, and all the information collected is voluntary. So you don't even have to leave your name. You could help someone else file a complaint, or you can file a complaint on behalf of someone else. But the FTC receives over 3 million reports of fraud a year, so we can't respond to every complaint. But we have many partners who contribute complaints into Consumer Sentinel, and those partners may provide direct assistance, like the state attorney general's offices, local consumer protection, and better business bureaus. And all of those contribute complaints into our system. Now, the New Jersey Division of Consumer Affairs may also help with individual issues. And Legal Services of New Jersey provides free legal assistance to low-income people in New Jersey. You can apply online or call their toll-free hotline at 1-888-LSNJ-LAW. And New Jersey Division of Aging Services helps older adults and people with disabilities live independently and save money. Now, we have great resources at the FTC. We have resources on hundreds of scams, both in print and online. Consumer.ftc.gov has our biggest collection of articles on scams. Consumer.gov has just what you need to know on managing money, credit, and debt, and avoiding scams and identity theft. It also has videos, an audio track, presentations, and lesson plans. Now, ftc.gov/coronavirus has the most recent data on complaints, scams, and links to other resources relating to the coronavirus. And Pass It On gives active older adults the tools to talk about the scams they see. Many people know a lot about scams, but we all know someone who doesn't know. So this site gives you ideas on how to start a conversation to help protect other people from scams. Now, youtube.com/FTC videos has our whole video collection. Grab them and share them as much as you want. And bulkorder.ftc.gov has our FTC print materials printed and shipped absolutely free. All of our materials are in English and Spanish. Now, again, Pass It On, that has consumer protection information, especially for older adults. These materials respect a lifetime of experience. They're short and to the point, and they encourage people to share what they know. Pass It On materials build on and refresh readers' knowledge and include resources for advocates. The fact sheets briefly summarize how a scam works and what the reader can do in response. So sharing information is a great way to learn about scams. Get FTC scam alerts to know about the latest scams. And we have dozens of 1 to 2 minute videos that explain scams like romance scams, how to deal with unwanted calls, and staying safe online. I hope you'll share our information and sign up for alerts. Everything we do is in the public domain, so feel free to copy and share this information. I will now be delighted to answer your questions, and I'd love to hear about any new scams that people are seeing.
Thanks, Robin, for that awesome presentation. Just a reminder to everyone on this call, we will be sending out this recording as well. hopefully before the holiday. So if you missed anything in this presentation, it will be in your inbox in just a few days. Just a reminder, if you have a question for Robin, please first ask your question using the chat feature at the bottom of your screen. First, include your name and the town you are from along with your question. We still have questions rolling in, so let's just start with a few frequently asked questions that were submitted beforehand. Robin, you went over a few of these already, but I just want to make sure they are reiterated since it's at the top of everyone's minds. Robin, what is the best way for people to report a scam?
Go to reportfraud.ftc.gov, and it's really easy to use, and will send you information on next steps and how to protect yourself against fraud.
Another question we saw a few times was, why do I receive robocalls when I am on the do not call list?
Because advances in technology have made it so easy for scammers to place robocalls from anywhere in the world and make it seem like it's coming from any exchange, even near you. So there are a lot of scammers that love to use robocalls. And even if you're on the do not call list, the do not call list stops legitimate businesses, but it doesn't stop scammers from trying to reach people using robocalls.
Thanks, Robin. All right, we do have one live question queued up, and it is from Susan from Short Hills. Susan, can you hear us?
Yes, I was just typing it out.
Oh, go ahead with your question.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to make a comment that most of my encounters with scams have really been as a result of data breaches of like Target and, you know, all the ones that we all hear about. And those are the ones that have affected me most so far. I've been lucky. But I wanted to ask Miss Eichen about Facebook. And because I constantly, most of my friends on Facebook are naturally around my age, are my friends. And I'm constantly seeing that they're filling out these polls and quizzes, such as name your favorite pet, name your elementary school or your grammar school. And I see that hundreds of thousands of people sometimes respond to these. And I really just look at them and I say, no, they're looking to see what my questions are, what my security answers are. Is that a correct perception?
Yes, I think you have to beware of clicking on unfamiliar links. That's how scammers often get into your personal accounts. So
they're hard to avoid almost, because when you see 4 other people you know writing, you know, the Beatles were my favorite, you just rock, whatever it is, my favorite Beatles song, I don't know. It's just so hard. It's really
well, if it's just something like that and you're not giving any other personal information, I'm sure it's all right. But if they're asking you for any personal information, your birth date, for example,
right.
or anything financial, certainly.
But
I would steer clear of it. If you're just giving your favorite color or your favorite song, that's probably innocent. But again, clicking on an unfamiliar link, you know, somebody sends to you and ask you to click on it, may put you in jeopardy.
How often should we change our passwords as well?
The current advice is frequently. How often? Well, you're not going to change it every day, but every few months maybe would be what I would think. What I do, I don't use the same password for every account. I try to keep thinking of different passwords At the FTC, you have to keep changing your password
Right.
pretty frequently. And you can't reuse old passwords. You have to keep changing it. But with my personal passwords, I don't change them as often, but I don't use the same password. I try to use very different passwords. And you can use a password manager or just write them down and keep them in a safe place that no one can find them.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Susan. Let's go to John from Garwood. John, can you hear us?
I can indeed. I just wanted to follow up on the last point about password reuse. Unfortunately, so many places make us create accounts. There's a great temptation to reuse passwords and use them in multiple places, but it's one of the highest risk areas, particularly after a data breach. And I did want to add one a different point regarding the very good question about individuals who provide personal information in social media like Facebook and whatnot. There's really no such thing as innocent information. And even an innocuous piece of information like a pet name, a band that you like or whatever, the purpose behind many of these sites is to harvest that information and to use technology to match it up to individuals and to facilitate identity theft, to answer confidential questions, to steal passwords and whatnot. So social media is great when you are in a confined area, but when you're in public sites and things along those lines, it's fertile ground for scammers and other bad actors to harvest information to use to exploit and steal from people. So two suggestions: don't reuse passwords and don't provide any information, no matter how innocuous, on social media. Be very, very careful about that.
Thanks, John. All right, those are all the questions we have queued up right now. If you do have any remaining questions, we do ask that you visit malinowski.house.gov/contact. We are more than welcome to field your question to Robin, or we may even have resources available for you ourselves. So with that, Robin, if you have any final words to close us off here today, thank you everyone for joining. And Robin, I'll just turn it over to you for some final words.
Well, I would say a couple of things. One is that I know a lot of people are concerned about robocalls. So we have great information about call blocking at ftc.gov/calls. And it also talks about the do not call list. And we also share information on numbers reported to us on the do not call list with companies that are involved in call blocking to help those telephone companies block more of the unwanted calls. Another thing is it's now holiday shopping season. We have great information in our blogs on holiday shopping. And if you're shopping online, you should be very careful because, as I had said early in the presentation, online shopping accounted for huge consumer losses last year, and we anticipate the same may happen this year. Use secure shopping sites, HTTPS, shop when you can using a credit card, because that's the safest way to dispute a charge that isn't yours or an item that you never received. Research your purchases, research your donations. And the FTC has great information on all of those things. And we have blogs almost every day about the current issues for consumers and the current scams. So I'm really proud of our agency, and I commend to you our website, ftc.gov.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great Thanksgiving.
Okay.